Hey there, River here for Friday night telling, our weekly night telling, and you can see a few items we have laid out here as we share some disclaimers. I am not a doctor, lawyer, therapist. I'm a fortune teller, so what I share is no substitute for their services. Furthermore, what I share does not determine your future, only your intentions and actions do. So please use your gifts of discernment before deciding what to gather and take away. And of course, take only what resonates and blow like a kiss the rest to the universe for cosmic composting into beauty. And this is for fun and games, for shits and giggles, for entertainment, for flexing our heart, mind, body, soul, spirit, and intuition and emotions. And at the least, I hope to cause harm to none. And at the most, I hope I may assist you on your healing path. All that said, our Friday night telling, we choose from our Romani library, Romani Plus library. And there's about 99 books on there, and it's up to you to figure out which ones are Romani, which ones are Gypsy, and which ones are my other family. And unless I make the reveal, of course. And so we rolled a 78 and a 74. So 78 gave us this lovely book by two brilliant creatives. I had the honor to meet Ristic and Leonora. Beautiful, lovely people. And this is the Romani songs from Central Serbia and beyond. The Galbeno Songbooks, volume number 1. And I believe that you may find out more through Voice of Roma, and I shall try to remember to leave that link in the description for you, if it's just not already automatically there in the playlist description. And so you can collaborate with Voice of Roma to find out more about Dusan, Suzanne, the Romani songs from Central Serbia and beyond, the Galbeno songbooks, and then we also rolled a 74, and so we had this book, Gypsies, Wars, and Other Instances of the Wild Civilization and Its Discontents in a Serbian Town. And so Source is playing with me because I brought up in one of the yesterday's sparkles that we don't tell war stories. And so Source is like, oh yeah? Well, we don't glorify war stories. And we want to honor all of those that have been affected in the past and presently by that grief struck by loss amygdala acting out in fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn, and thank you for holding love in your heart, that unconditional love in your heart, for all of those who have been affected by those man-made disasters. Heartily, we are grateful for you holding space to help rebuild a new earth based in peace and instant justice. And thank you so much for steering clear of danger, for taking sweet care of yourself, for shuffling states of emergency into adoption spirit magic, and for playing your cards. Heartily, we are grateful. And super grateful. All of us together holding that beautiful love in our hearts. Perhaps it looks like this rose quartz ball or pyramid, or maybe this orange calcite for you. Maybe it's beautiful mushroom, or this blue calcite, I believe, from the ocean stones. Maybe it's trash you've picked up and repainted. And crystal quartz, carnelian, labradite, however you help yourself, assist yourself, transition from here to there. And thank you so much for building capacity for tolerance inside out, starting with you, right? And understanding that here immersed in adoption spirit magic, we see that quote-unquote evil is, each time we look that quote-unquote evil in the eyes, we see hurt in disguise, calling for the salves of unconditional love and unarmed truths, not always our turn to serve. Glory be, hallelujah, however you call God. And yes, just taking some extra time and space there for all that's happening around the world and that has happened to those in this circle and those connected with this circle. We love you all and are sending you big hugs and helping you hold your safe sound space. And perhaps you find at least one helpful item here that may assist you on your healing path. And thank you so much for joining us for a spell on this Friday night telling. And we enjoy starting out with numerology. Part of the reason why I held out this sheet so we can remember the numbers 74 and 77. 7 is such a divine number. It is this numerology is something that you may check out on your own because we are all different psychosocial science experiments, and what resonates for you may be different than what resonates for me or whoever else. And so I enjoy inviting you to keep exploring different items, the numerology, the crystals, to see how it resonates with you to make this reading more meaningful for you. And that number 7, it's a beautiful number for any boundary problem. And I've been learning with the assistance of Cindy Dale, and I believe I left a description in the description, her books about subtle energy healing. And so that's where I'm getting this information about the numerology that I'm learning. So thank you for learning with me. But the 7, it invokes divine assistance, which helps with any boundary problems. And it also, this is how I'm learning. I wonder if you can see that. Let's see what I need to do. Oh yeah. All right, awesome. And then this 7 also represents the divine principle, opens us up for love and grace, erasing any doubts about the divine path. So, you know, in these situations, emotional to physical wars, you may play with the 7 to assist you in playing through. Loss is so devastating at times. Like, how do you possibly play through? How could you possibly be talking about games right now? But perhaps that's precisely the time that games are really relevant. And there's so much data out there about the usefulness of games, helping us to move to where we want to go in a safe, sound way. So perhaps you create mantras or art pieces or envision it around yourself. That 7, it came up twice, the 74 and the 78. And then this, the 4. So let's see the 4. You know, it's like a chair. There's 4 on the floor. It grounds and stabilizes us, especially if others are pulling on us energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically, in the cases of emotional physical wars. And this plays out with the orphan and the adoptee and the gypsy in so many ways, literal, figurative, orphan, adoptee, gypsy. And so we can call on this 4 to assist us in overcoming that, finding some safe, sound space to help play through a difficult situation. And there's more about that number 4. It really creates a foundation, stabilizing. Achieves balance. So again, in the cases of this emotional to physical war, which perhaps orphan and adoptees have been feeling in a different way, and those, when it gets to an actual, on a national level, how to equalize those social contracts. It's just all people, a different way to look at it. Okay, we're immersed in adoption spirit magic. We're not seeing one person as evil over the other. That doesn't help us move forward, helping everybody adopt success, transmuting violent cycles to love. And so another different way to see it is perhaps like a lifeguard looking out on the water, and there's drowning victims. And if you have taken some lifeguard training, or you're in lifeguard training, perhaps or perhaps you may be interested in taking lifeguard training, like that you make sure before you get too close to the swimmer that you don't get an arm's or legs length away until you're ready to make the save, because that tired swimmer, that drowning swimmer, is so out of their mind to save their life, they may kick you, punch you, and drag you down in their drown. So you want to make really sure that you keep your distance until you're ready to make your move, and then you make your move, and if it doesn't work, you want to make sure that you've learned how to disengage and detach, and recognizing that sometimes the water's too rough. You can't go in for the safe, and whatever rituals or prayers or honorings, ways to honor that. These numbers may assist with that. That 7, that 4, that 7, that 4 adds up to an 11. Beautiful master number. I love that. That so relevant in this situations that we're talking about, these social contracts that need to be equalized. And how do you do that? Well, start with yourself in your safe sound space. And so this 11 provides access to spiritual guidance and transforms the storyline that established our boundary problems in the first place. The domestic within the household, perhaps before they even conflate to something on a national or galactic level. And so perhaps you play with that 11 and focus on it from the inside out, that tolerance inside out. And what can you do? Well, maybe this is something you can do, is to play with that number 11. And I'm just shifting through, seeing if there's something else. Oh yes, 11 represents inspiration, releases personal mythology, opens us to divine powers, and erases self-esteem issues. So super beautiful. I mean, sometimes source works through us, and we're channels, right? And so glory be. And so at certain time, I received this channel that perhaps bullying is a minor demonstration of unresolved grief, and wars are an epic demonstration of unresolved grief. And so that 11 helps perhaps us work through some of that in a different way, and how to dance away from these fight, flight, freeze, fawn cycles, that grief struck by loss, sad gone mad amygdala in each of our heads. How to dance away from that and immerse into adoption spirit magic, whatever that looks like for you. Perhaps the numbers is a way in for you. Sometimes the loss is so much, like we can't talk about it. And so numbers or crystals or colors or music or sound or light are other ways to assist us on our healing journey at that point, before, or, at the points when we're beyond words. And then that number 8, super beautiful. This is a wonderful number to pop up. And I'm reminded to share my Thich Nhat Hanh bell mantra, ringing the bell and for honoring the neighbors, the passers-by, the ambulance, the fire, the engines we may hear. And that mantra goes something like this. Mind, body, speech, in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. And that bell mantra is by Thich Nhat Hanh. And again, if I haven't said already, hopefully I shall remember to leave that in the description so you can access on your own, and also learn more about Thich Nhat Hanh. He has crossed over to the other side, but still, I imagine that you may have some wonderful conversations with him in your own right. So back to that numerology. And thank you so much for honoring and helping hold the safe sound space for everybody around and helping them access what they need to transition into that safe sound space. Seeing the people around you in their highest, even when they perhaps are presenting something different, and offering them that space to step into that, honor that. So this number 8 breaks and erases cycles or relationships that hold us hostage or keep us bound by unhealthy patterns, right? These emotional and physical wars when we lash out our grief because it's so much, right? It's so devastating that we kill ourselves and kill other people, right? So how to break that, how to soothe ourselves through the loss in a way that is healthy and doesn't hurt anyone else. How do we not kick the dog? How do we stop kicking the dog? How do we stop whipping the post? Right? How do we stop taking our grief out on other people? And this 8 may assist with that. And that, taking our grief out on other people and the ways it plays out with adoption of animals, babies, cultures, land, in a person's loss. So often that's the way the adoption plays out. The adopter, adoption serves more as a prescription for the adopter to overcome their loss than an equitable contract for all involved. And so perhaps this 8 helps with that, helps break down that superiority complex that kicks up that authoritative amygdala that gets called all these different things, all the different ways the grief struck by loss plays out. We could tell those stories till we're blue in the face, and then we'd be dead. And what would that do? So we're telling some different stories here, playing a different game. And yes, this 8, it's the symbol of infinity and power. It can be used to erase old and entrenched patterns and syndromes. And it also establishes recurring patterns and illuminates our karma, but it's this number of power and infinity, so it may assist in these situations. And that 78 adds up to a 15, which is the number 6. And again, such a beautiful number to play in to this reading tonight, whenever you are tuning in. This is a timeless reading. The 6 defends against evil, quote-unquote, evil forces, which here in Adoption Spirit Magic, as we already mentioned in this session, it's the grief struck by loss amygdala, right? All the different ways it plays out. We could tell those stories till we're blue in the face, but that doesn't really serve us to adopt success for one and all. That just helps us to keep leaving behind one lame dog after another. And so we have learned to see that each time we look that in the eye, we see hurt in disguise. So this number 6 hurts may help in those instances when that person is so hurt they lash out and create an emotional to physical war, psychic invasions or physical invasions. And this number 6 perhaps helps us maintain our integrity by maintaining healthy energetic boundaries. Perhaps there's a Romani expression a Romani expression. I think it's a Manouche proverb. Before there comes hatred and fighting, hold on the caravan and go. Like if if you can get out of the way, get out of the way. Steer clear of danger. And that helps you maintain your boundaries. What if you try to stay? Well, then perhaps your boundaries are going to break down and you're going to end up fighting too. And that's not what you wanted to do. Even though it may well up in you and it might seem like the thing to do. I mean, no shame or guilt or not pointing the finger. Like, we've all been there. These times we've been so grief-struck by loss, we've lashed out and kicked the dog, literally or figuratively. And so to honor how not to do that is to steer clear of the danger. Keep tabs of yourself and your maitri, your self-love. And the 6 helps us release the unconscious benefits of a repetitive pattern and embrace more joyful ways of responding to life. And let's see, there's more about that number 6. It is the number of service. It indicates the presence of light and dark and the choices we make between those two. And so, immersed in adoption spirit magic, talking about light and dark and evil, good and evil. As we've mentioned, trying to ensure that we adopt success for one and all, transmuting violent cycles into love. Seeing that evil isn't so helpful. Seeing it as loss is more helpful, and knowing that sometimes it's not our turn to serve the unconditional love or the unarmed truths. It's our turn to get out of the way, right? Get the fuck out of the way. Danger, steer clear. Keep yourself safe. So that was deep. I wasn't expecting to spend so much time in that area, but look, there we did it. That was sort of fun. And we are jumping into 22 minutes. 22 minutes. I think that's awesome, especially with everything going on and the super moon happening, and just spending a little extra time with some healing, some numerology, playing into that, especially with the topics jumping up, right? Okay, it's not just that it's happening around the world right now, but the book that was chosen, so we're just honoring that. And so what we're going to do for this bibliomancy, as it's called, is just check in with the books, front and back, and then give a little check, knock in for a page. Say a pretty prayer and check in for a page. Check in for a page. So you can check in, see these websites. And let's see. There you are. And oops. Notes at the back. The Amala School, Susanna and Dushan, you can see. And so beautiful, beautiful people. I'm so thrilled. I think I took some notes there. Dushan Ristic is a Rom from Valjevo, Serbia, and Montenegro. He is an artist working in several media, a violinist, a singer, a Romani activist, and the founder of the Romani Crisis Network, and the founding director of the Amala School for the Romani Culture, www.galbeno.co.yu. He is the son of the professional violinist Radoslav Ristic, who is the son of the professional violinist Pavle Ristic, who was himself the son of a violinist. Dushan grew up studying classical music at school and experiencing living folk music at home with his father's musical family and friends, and his mother, a fine amateur singer. Dushan became a professional musician himself in 1997 with the founding of the band Cal, which has made several recordings and recently toured the UK. You may find them online, I think YouTube and Instagram as well. That Cal band. Dushan's people came from Armenia via Turkey and settled in Grabovica, a satellite village of Valjevo, around 1800. Dushan's great-great-grandfather converted from Islam to Christian Orthodoxy so that he could enter the city and play for the Christians there. Duchamp studied law and music at the gymnasium and earned a master's degree in fine art from the University of Belgrade, Serbia, and Montenegro. So beautiful, such a lovely soul and brilliant creative artist, and I'm so happy you are able to collaborate with him here and perhaps get to know him more there. And Suzanne Leonora is a standard white American mutt, Scottish, English, and Ukrainian Jewish. Her parents and their only sibling are all professional musicians. She has been singing almost as long as she has been talking and studying Balkan music for about 30 years. She makes a living with the band Rumeli and with Rumen Shopov, and is the founding director of Mosaic Vocal Ensemble. She has written some 20 books about computer programs and peripherals. Such beautiful people. I am so excited that you are able to meet both of them, and you may check out with Rumen Shopov as well. And yes, some wonderful contacts here. And the Amala School. Hopefully I left that there long enough for you to check that out. And here's some suggested recordings. And there's some songs. And let's see about the front of the book. There we go. And you can see the quick table. And some terms in the book and about the Roma. You get some history, so that's beautiful. An introduction. And goodness. All right, so let's tap in. 26 minutes. Thank you very much. Helping us pick a song in the highest love and light. Help us mind our business as we move forward. Oh my God, that is hilarious. And so this is the song. America, America by Shaban Baramovich. And please pardon my pronunciation. And so this is page 30 and 31. And it says, if you can't get work where you live, you have to go where you can get work. Your family has to eat. The men of the impoverished Balkans have a long history of going abroad to work. Sometimes they have been able to come home regularly. Sometimes they have only come home to get married and beget children. Sometimes they have made a new life for themselves in the new place, and they never come home at all. This necessary evil has caused a lot of anguish for all connected. The immigrant is isolated and homesick. The hometown is depopulated, and the families are torn apart. One of the results in every culture of the Balkans has been an entire genre of going abroad to work songs, all of them deeply felt and absolutely wrenching. The power of this genre, the child's point of view, and Shaban Baramovich's brilliant songwriting all make America unforgettable. It's really touching me. It's really touching me. Right before I was reading that last line about the child's point of view, I'm like, oh my God, all the children, right? All the children, all the orphans and adoptees, the literal and figurative orphans and adoptees and gypsies and Romanis. Sometimes they're the same, and sometimes it takes a lot of explaining. But I think so many of us around the world can relate to, not to minimize this experience, right? Because this is a very particular experience, and so often the Romani experience has been minimized, and I don't mean to do that at all, and I myself have done that, and so I am learning to improve and not fall into that. So beautiful, and so you may enjoy tapping into that song more on your own, and see if you can find it online. And it says, I used to ask my mother why she cried. Whom every day like this did she curse? Why don't you come home? She and my sisters suffered. She didn't sleep all night. Father, you went far away. You left us little ones to grow up not knowing you. From America, your friend came back. I ask him, Father, if you're going to come home. He says to me, you can't come home because you are very sick, and I'm unhappy, unlucky. Father, you went far away. You left us little ones to grow up not knowing you. Father, you left healthy, as strong as any Rom. Now you're sick. You lost your leg. I look at your picture. I cry for you. I look a lot like you, Father. Father, you went far away. You left us little ones to grow up not knowing you. It's really touching a nerve, right? So for me, in my families, for these families that experience this, we want to keep our families together. This is a large part of why I do the work that I do. And I am so thrilled and honored to collaborate with you. And thank you for helping dismantle the old earth that left parents in a position where they had to take this necessary evil, and families are torn apart, and for helping rebuild this new earth based in peace and joy, where families may stay together and sustain a beautiful, healthy, happy life. Heartily, we are so grateful. And so we didn't even get into this book. It's 31 minutes. So I'm going to put a pin in it there. Oh my God, I can't. I have to at least show you the back and look inside. I know, right? That's such a tease. I am just so grateful for you all joining us whenever you can. And thank you for steering clear of danger, for playing your cards, for shuffling spirits of emergency into adoption spirit, however you call that, adoption spirit. And I think one of the first on the pages on my channel, you can find out more about that adoption spirit magic to understand what it means to you. And perhaps I've shown you enough here that, oh my God, I have to. Okay, here we go. Thank you for showing us something in the highest love and light. And so, yes, lessons from the Reform School of War. Chapter 3, page 112 and 113. And so deep, so deep, so deep. And there you have it. Large-scale war, total war, war antidote. This is something that I just want to take another moment to honor those that are experiencing emotional and physical war right now, and a moment of love and light for their families, and those in the past as well. And thank you for holding that unconditional love in your heart, and for helping us all adopt success, transmuting these violence cycles into love. Heartily, we are grateful. Until next time, ciao for now. We love you all.